Let's bring you this story now. There's tight security at the ANC Tshwane Regional Conference today. Regional Secretary Eugene Modise is squaring off with Chairperson Kgosi Mahepa for the top spot. Now, the region's 11th conference was postponed a couple of weeks ago due to disputes. Reporter Pule Letshwiti-Jones is covering that gathering and joins us live. Thank you very much for your time this morning, Pule. Maybe just explain to us why there is such a heavy police presence at this particular conference.
Definitely. Well, that move was, of course, motivated by the fact that the ANC in the Greater Tshwane region is saying it's not expecting any interruptions and wants to make sure that the conference is smooth sailing as well. And coupled with that, you'd remember that there's still some few disputes that have been lodged, and the region has to quite deal with that before they can actually move forward. But we also understand that about 300 delegates are expected to make their way here at the venue. Quite a lot that has been happening. In fact, if you look at the history of the Tshwane Greater region, remember just before the incumbent Dr. Kgosi Mahepa was the chairperson, there was also the likes of Mr. Sputla Ramokgopa in 2015 there. You remember that unrest that took place after the PEC had, of course, wanted to have another candidate from who rather would fill in his boots in 2015, which was Toko Didiza, but there was quite a lot of disputes around that move here. But when you look at it, when you go down to about 2022, there's also still a lot of complaints that have been going on around the leadership of the current chairman, of course, being Mr. Mahepa as well, to question his fitness to hold office. And now people, rather branches, endorsing the move to have Eugene Bonso to compete with him for that chairperson position. It will be quite interesting to see how that unfolds right now. But to give us more about today's proceedings and progress, I'm joined by the Tshwane spokesperson, Bafuze Yabo. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. Bafuze, it's been a minute since we last spoke, but we just want to find out as to the progress and what is happening. What are we expecting today, and what reports are you tabling?
Well, today is officially day one of conference. As you would know, we had scheduled the conference to start yesterday. We had a few glitches to sort out, which I think we can safely say they have been sorted out. Most of the issues had to relate to disputes lodged, being processed, and at this point we have thoroughly gone through that process. It's been finalized by a different committee, but we are all set to go. We are definitely all set to go. Just a rundown of the process that will begin once plenary sits. The open session begins. We'll be welcome to the conference. We are expecting an input from the PC. We're expecting to receive reports from the chairperson, the organizational report from the secretary, the financial report from the treasurer, and then we'll go into the business of the conference, electing leadership and discussions.
Obviously, we speak about some of the glitches that are taking place. There's still disputes that have been lodged. Do you think this is not going to disturb the conference from moving forward?
No. In actual fact, there are guidelines that have been provided, and we work within those guidelines. We cannot have last-minute disputes lodged right now. So what is being disposed of would have been lodged and put through the system, and there would have been appeals that are now being tackled by the province and national. Of course, there's a committee that has been set up now with provincial representatives and national representatives and regional representatives to dispose of whatever is outstanding. Some of these problems are not even administrative, they're just political. And so leadership, political intervention has to be provided to solve those problems. And I can safely say that last night a lot of work was done by the leadership to intervene politically in some of these gripes that members have put forward in terms of the process itself. So we are on green light. We are no longer on amber. We can proceed.
Take us through the venue. Why did you decide to hold this conference in Johannesburg in Fourways and not necessarily in Tshwane? Because I know the Joburg Regional Conference is in Centurion, but we are in Johannesburg for Tshwane matters. What's the case? Why was that? What was the reason?
I suppose it was availability of venue. I think Joburg beat us to the Tshwane venue. We beat them to the Johannesburg venue.
We're not scared of interruptions.
Not really. Not really. If you noticed, our registration went smoothly for the last 2 days at a different venue. Yes, security was tight, but there were relatively, in fact, virtually no interruptions at all. We did not see what we would have seen in Ekurhuleni last week. So we have been confident about a lot of political work that has been done to ensure that we do not have unexpected incidents of aggression, violence, and really disgruntlement that you would find associated with meetings of the ANC. So we are ahead of the pack, if I may say so.
Your performance dwindled during the local government elections. Some were saying that they didn't have confidence in the leadership of the chairperson, Dr. Kgosi Mayepa. But we're seeing now there's Eugene Modise who's amongst those competing for that, rather vying for that position. Are you confident in the names that have been put forward?
Look, the question you're asking me is a question of preference. As a spokesperson of the region, I cannot delve into preference, and I must just say, let the best man win. It's a contest. It's allowed for in the ANC. Anyone who puts their hand up for a position, the members, the delegates here will say who they want to lead. It's as simple as that.
Mafuze Yabo, thank you very much for joining us. That's the Tshwane region spokesperson, Mafuze Yabo, just giving us more details around today's plans and, of course, what will be tabled in terms of those reports that are expected to be taken through with some of the delegates. But most importantly, we will be moving in the right direction, as per he's saying, that the issue of disputes has been resolved and that it's all green lights that this Tshwane Regional Conference can actually take place and start proceeding.
Thank you very much, Pule Letshwiti-Jones. Following that conference happening in Tshwane, you've just heard there has been a lot of back and forth, a lot of disagreements, but finally things are happening, and we will bring you those developments as they unfold throughout the duration of that conference.